is the testimony of Spokane serial killer investigators. However, don't look for those detectives to take the stand anytime soon. The judge's decision today prompted him to also postpone Robert Yates' murder trial until April of next year. Reporting at the Pierce County Courthouse, Jeff Humphrey from 2 News.
Families of Yates victims had mixed reactions. Sean McClenahan's sister tells KREM 2 News even though she's against the death penalty, she wanted all the evidence against Yates to be presented in court.
This morning I was very upset when I thought that there was a chance that all the cases in Spokane might be basically thrown out of court. And that would be saying to people in the Seattle-Tacoma area that Mr. Yates was not a serial killer.
So here's what's next in the case against Yates. Once again, the judge agreed to postpone Yates' trial until April of next year. The judge also ordered a June 1st status report to make sure there are no additional delays.
Well, police say traffic should be moving again in downtown Spokane after a hit-and-run accident tonight. Police tell KREM 2 News that it was a dispute between 2 brothers. One brother struck the other one, breaking his leg. He left the scene and went home. Police aren't saying if any charges will be filed. Also tonight, the downtown Spokane Women's Shelter is staying alive. That's thanks to a new partnership and some federal money. Sacred Heart Medical Center will buy that building, and the shelter is also teaming up with Volunteers of America. Representative George Nethercutt says the federal money will kick in, the federal government, that is, will kick in $100,000.
And that's what struck me so strongly about my visit here, is that women who are subject to violence and are subject to abuse need a place. They need safety, and they need a safe place to go. And
now, residents have renamed that shelter Hope House.
Well, weather-wise, a little on the cool side today, but hey, mostly sunny.
What about tomorrow? Here's meteorologist Tom Sherry with a look at first weather. Tom?
Should be kind of a repeat of what we saw today. We'll start off with sunshine and see some clouds build towards the afternoon hours with a chance of showers. We've seen the showers decrease now across eastern Washington and northern Idaho, and even the skies have become partly cloudy, and that's what we'll get tomorrow. Cool conditions, 34 to start the day, 50 at noontime, and again, look for a chance of some isolated rain showers or even thunder showers towards the late afternoon, early evening hours. We'll look for a high of 56. I'll tell you what to expect for the weekend. That and your 7-day forecast right around the corner.
And attention anglers, there are now 35,000 more fish swimming in West Medical Lake tonight. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife stocked the lake with rainbow trout. Washington's fishing season begins on Saturday, April 28th. The Washington State Employees Union plans to escalate those rolling walkouts tomorrow.
Be fair to those who care.
Today, people who work at the Lakeland Village School for the Developmentally Disabled in Medical Lake held an informational picket line. They want more pay from the state legislature, which says taxpayers can't afford it.
Around the Northwest tonight, Starbucks will open stores in Israel. The coffee chain's joint venture with an Israeli group will be called the Shalom Coffee Company. Well, firefighters in Bay Center near Washington's coast can't do much to fight fires like this. The water pressure in that town is so low, they don't have any working fire hydrants. The county, though, hopes to get a grant to upgrade that water system next summer. And a somber anniversary in Oklahoma City.
Church bells, followed by 168 seconds of silence for each of the victims, marked the 6th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. Victims' family also learned today they will be allowed to watch Timothy McVeigh's execution next month from a nearby federal prison. Today also marks the 8th anniversary of the federal attack at Waco, where more than 80 men, women, and children died. Still no breakthrough tonight after the second round of talks between the U.S. and China. China has still not promised to return the U.S. spy plane that collided with a Chinese jet. But U.S. sources say the U.S. gave China a written proposal on how it could return the damaged aircraft. And the White House is considering whether to notify China of its plans to resume those surveillance flights off the coast of China. China is also using this video from a Chinese cockpit to accuse the United States Navy of aggressive tactics in the air. More on their version of the events, plus U.S. reaction, coming up a little later in this newscast.
Across America tonight, the space shuttle Endeavour is on its way to the International Space Station.
4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of the space shuttle Endeavour.
Endeavour will deliver a robotic arm to the space station in what NASA calls the most difficult robotics mission ever attempted in space. Some public works employees in Texas are in trouble tonight over potholes. Houston officials say those workers lied about how many potholes they were repairing and took credit for thousands of repairs that were never made. A wildfire in southwestern Florida is almost contained tonight. Flames there burned more than 4,000 acres and destroyed one home. The fire started as a controlled burn. And flooding continues in the Midwest. The Mississippi River is expected to crest tomorrow in parts of Wisconsin at almost 24 feet. Wisconsin's governor has now called in the National Guard for help.
Nurses are in short supply. That according to a nationwide study out tonight. 20% of nurses surveyed say they will leave the profession within the next 5 years. The nurses say unsatisfactory working conditions, such as irregular hours and low pay, are mostly to blame.
This is the last thing many people want to hear. I'm not happy with these results.
Parents tonight are talking about this new study which says the longer young children stay in daycare, the more likely they are to misbehave when they reach kindergarten. Researchers recommend parents try to put their kids in daycare less than 10 hours a week.
President Bush takes action on the environment tonight. Bush says he'll sign an international treaty that calls for the elimination of 12 highly toxic chemicals known as the Dirty Dozen. And the president also marked Holocaust Remembrance Day on Capitol Hill with members of Congress and Holocaust survivors. Remembrance Day commemorates the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis during World War II.
And more Holocaust remembrances around the world tonight. More than 1,000 Jewish young people marched in silence through a Polish town, following in the footsteps of victims of the death camp at Auschwitz. Meanwhile, Jews and Palestinians continue fighting on the West Bank. An explosion ripped through the office of a Palestinian security service. 3 people were wounded. No word tonight on the cause. And a small plane leaves Chile on a daring mission to the South Pole. Crews will rescue a doctor down there with a potentially dangerous case of gallstones. They will have to fly through 10 hours of darkness and land on a runway of ice. That doctor will then be flown to the U.S. for surgery. Well, an 80-year-old woman down in Southern California has her cake and eats it too.
She sure does. Frances Kuiper can frost and decorate a round cake in just 90 seconds. But that's not all. In the basement of her retirement home, she has a cake museum with 150 cakes. The oldest, a sugar egg, there it is. It's been around for 70 years. That's a long time.
And beautiful work, too. Well, is Big Brother watching us? Coming up on KREM 2 News at 11, we'll see how close NASA can zoom in from its eye in the sky.
China accuses the U.S. Navy of aggressive flying. We'll see their version of that mid-air collision with a Chinese jet.
As the Spokane Chiefs continue their playoff run, we'll spend some time with the man guarding the net, goalie Tyler McKay.
And another survivor is cast out of the Outback. We'll have highlights from tonight's action-packed show. But first, your winning lottery numbers from KREM 2 News at 11.
You are looking at current WeatherNet conditions, and live WeatherNet information may be available from your town. Just log on to our website, krem.com, and click on weather.
Tom, Sherry, weather. And we're looking forward to it because you're calling for some great weather.
Well, yeah, temperatures
Later
maybe a
in.
tad below normal, but some sunshine, at least to start off the day.
Yeah.
And you're going to love to see these pictures now. This is courtesy of NASA, and it's satellite in outer space. Look at this camera zoom in. This is not animation. This is real pictures right here. And we're going to zoom in. We're down in Florida. We're going to Orlando, and that is Epcot Center right there. Unbelievable. NASA released these pictures as a part of its Earth Day campaign. Of course, Earth Day is being celebrated on Sunday, but to me, that is truly Amazing, that kind of technology. Here's Storm Tracker 2 Plus, your satellite radar picture. Big trough across the western half of the United States. Most of the energy to the south of us. Kind of interesting here. Watch as the rain moves out of Nevada and then moves into the southern sections of Idaho and the northern portions of Nevada there. Northeastern corner. See how it changes over to a snow. We had some showers that were firing up this afternoon because of the daytime heating. They've begun to decrease, but we see a little bit of rain now developing along areas of the Cascades. This front that we have tomorrow, this will slide again, once again to the south of us. Some cooler air from the north, though, will begin to edge its way in. That'll keep us a couple of degrees cooler than what we would normally see this time of year. It's already cooled off to 35 degrees in Spokane, and Coeur d'Alene right now checks in at 37 under partly cloudy skies. Our normal high temperature is 58, and the normal overnight low is 36. Tomorrow, look for daytime highs to climb near 60 in Ritzville, with sunshine and increasing clouds building towards the afternoon. 62 in Moses Lake and Ephrata. Rain and maybe even a random thunderstorm across the Portland area. 59 in Seattle. You'll see 62 and showers later in the day down into the Tri-Cities. We'll see 57 in St. Mary's, 54 only in Sandpoint, and Newport should climb up to about 56 degrees. By the way, Bonners Ferry will see 52, 51 in Libby, and look for rain down to Missoula with a high near 52 degrees. So your overnight forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies and chilly temperatures as we look for an overnight low of 30 degrees. And then tomorrow, look for a chance of an isolated afternoon shower or thunder shower and a daytime high expected near 56. The normal is 58. Here's your 7-day forecast. Continued cool, but at least we'll call it mild anyway on Saturday with a high of 56. Then 58, which is seasonal on Sunday. Maybe a few showers developing on Monday, and we climb into the lower 60s on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the overnight lows begin to moderate as well. So a couple of cool nights in front of us over the next 72 hours, but then things really begin to turn the corner, and maybe we'll finally get a chance to get out there and do that work in the yard. We need to, prune the roses this time of year, trim the shrubs, maybe aerate your lawn, put some fertilizer down, mow the lawn.
That's a lot of work.
I'm beat.
Goodness sakes.
Boy, I see that honeydew list gets longer every year, Tom.
That's just the top of it.
Hey, I think we have time for a quick announcement. We would like to... Jim and Kim Kieberts are a talented husband and wife team behind the scenes here at KREM 2, and they welcome into the world a new baby girl born at 8:30 tonight. Her name, Patricia Diane. So congratulations, Kim and Jim Kieberts, and of course all of your family too.
You bet.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, coming up next on the Late Shift tonight, China comes up with a videotape to accuse the U.S. of aggressive flying.
The latest in the battle over that mid-air collision coming up on KREM 2 News at 11.
Coverage you can count on with Charles Rowe, Nadine Woodward, Tom Sherry's forecast, and Mark Holyoke Sports. This is KREM 2 News at 11.
The United States is set to resume those surveillance flights along the coast of Communist China as U.S. and Chinese negotiators discussed how those flights can be conducted safely.
Jamie McIntyre brings us the latest.
In the battle of the videotapes, China has returned fire, claiming these videos of U.S. Navy F-18s intercepting Chinese planes last year show that American pilots are guilty of the same aggressive intercepts the Pentagon accuses China of conducting. Nonsense, argues the Pentagon spokesman.
The starting point of the video that they showed indeed showed the U.S. aircraft at what we would consider a prudent distance from the Chinese aircraft. And that's all we're asking for in this case is prudent, non-aggressive, non-threatening flying.
The Pentagon says the U.S. planes appear to be at least 60 to 70 feet away, not nearly as close as this encounter with the Chinese in January.
He's very, very close. Oh, yes. He's almost probably 20 feet from our wingtip. So he's inside of our wingtip.
The Pentagon also dismissed as a cartoon Chinese animation that purports to show how the U.S. EP-3 veered into the straight and level Chinese jets.
And we just don't agree with that assessment at all.
The U.S. is preparing to resume surveillance flights from the Kadena Air Base on Okinawa, flying at first north of Hainan Island, where the U.S. says the most aggressive Chinese pilots are based, and where the U.S. says F-15s from Okinawa could fly in support.
The Pentagon has drawn up plans for so-called escort flights, but military leaders don't really like the idea. So sources say a compromise option is to keep F-15s flying just out of sight where they could keep watch without being provocative. But until the Bush administration decides what it wants to do, those U.S. eavesdropping planes will stay on the ground. Jamie McIntyre, CNN, the Pentagon.
Well, Mark Holyoke joins us now. The NFL draft almost here.
And what's this, Mark? Mike Holmgren, I should say, raising a few eyebrows?
Yeah, dipping into the XFL talent pool, if there is such a thing. That's what he's doing. I'll explain coming up. And the Mariners looking to continue their early season winning ways. We're off to Safeco Field, plus we'll check in with the Spokane Chiefs straight ahead. Now that Alex Rodriguez and the Rangers left Seattle, having lost 2 of 3 emotion-packed games, the Mariners returning to the more normal, leisurely way of life. The M's kicking off a 3-game series with Anaheim tonight. We take you out to Safeco Field, pick things up with Freddie Garcia on the mound facing Wally Joyner. Gets him looking. Garcia allows just 1 run over 7 innings. On to the 6th inning, we're scoreless. John Olerud, the blooper to left field, brings in Ichiro Suzuki. Suzuki extending his hit streak to 14 games, 1-zip M's. Next pitch, Brett Boone. Ground ball right up the middle. That'll bring in Stan Javier. It's 2-0. Then in the bottom of the 8th, 2-1 the score. Boone to right center field. No one will get that one. Olerud scores all the way from first. That would prove to be a key run because the Angels get one late, but the Mariners hang on to win it 3-2. Well, the Rangers back home tonight to host Oakland. Bottom of the 3rd, A-Rod deep to center field, a 2-run home run, 5 home runs on the year, all of them against the A's. 3-2 Oakland leading, top of the 5th. Looks innocent, but it's a line shot that gets out in a hurry off the bat of Johnny Damon. 3-run home run. The A's go on to beat the Rangers 9-5. 4 free agent signings by the Seahawks today, but don't get too excited. One of them is wideout Fabian Bones, who had 4 catches and a touchdown with Seattle the past couple of seasons. The other 3, cornerback Donnie Caldwell, wideout Corey Nelson, and safety Tawambi Settles, all played in the XFL. Well, the NBA coaching carousel is back in use, with 2 coaches being pushed off of it today. Cleveland fired Randy Whitman, and Detroit dumped George Irvine. In D.C., Michael Jordan has a new coach for his Washington Wizards. Leonard Hamilton resigned last night, and MJ's old coach with the Bulls, Doug Collins, takes over.
Michael Jordan called me on the phone, and he said, "I need you. Can you come help me?" And it was easy once he said that I knew that this was the place for me to be.
Boy, I could have swore I heard Dave Niehaus there. Anyway, Collins is hoping Jordan gives up his front office job for a spot in the Wizards' starting lineup. NHL playoffs game 5 between Dallas and Edmonton. Mike Modano hit in the face with a puck. That hurts. 3rd period, tied at 2. Eric Brewer with the wrist shot beats Eddie Bell for 3-2. Edmonton looking for the upset. Stars have the answer. Sergei Zubov, great pass to John McClain. We're tied at 3. We go to overtime. McClain centers to Kirk Muller. That's the game winner. Dallas wins it 4-3. Stars lead the series 3-2. After a couple of well-deserved days off, the Spokane Chiefs hit the ice this afternoon for the first time since their 2nd-round sweep of Seattle. As Tom Hudson tells us, for the Chiefs to get past Portland, they'll need another strong series from the man behind the mask.
When the playoffs start, Chiefs goalie Tyler McKay kicks his game into another gear. McKay has given up just 26 goals in 15 postseason games as a Chief. This year, he leads the league in save percentage and goals against average.
It's do or die time come playoffs time. It's a little bit of a cutthroat hockey. This is my last year in the league. I want to leave a bit of impression for myself.
McKay started his career in Saskatoon, but things didn't work out with the Blades, so McKay was thrilled when Chiefs general manager Tim Speltz brought him to Spokane.
He gave me the opportunity to play under Babcock, and he let me play, and he gave me a lot of confidence to play. So, like, the strong defensive hockey here just makes a goalie look even better.
He's been definitely everything I've expected and then more. I think he's come a long way as a goaltender this year from what I've seen, and as a person too. So that's what you like to see.
Tom Hudson, KREM 2 Sports.
Game 1 of the best-of-7 series, Saturday night, 7 o'clock at the Rose Garden in Portland. These teams met 8 times during the regular season. Spokane won 5, lost 3, and tied 1. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mark.
Coming up from KREM 2, plenty of action on tonight's installment of Survivor.
That's right. We're going to have the ups and downs from the Outback as KREM 2 News at 11 continues.
Well, did you see it? Emotions running high in the Australian Outback on tonight's episode of Survivor.
That's right. The castaways got the chance to chat online with loved ones, a moment that brought tears to their eyes, and an engagement for Keith. He proposed to his girlfriend over the internet. She said yes. Things, though, got a bit testy when Colby called Keith a bozo, accusing him of cooking too much of their rationed rice. And once again, Colby won the immunity challenge, being the first to unlock his shackles by answering Survivor trivia correctly. And at tonight's tribal council, Roger got the boot.
I was the oldest person getting off the plane, 53 years old. I've been out here 36 days, just had 6 more to go. I could have done without food for those next 6 days if I'd had to stayed out here. I wish them all the luck.
Way to go, Roger.
Nice guy.
So what do you think, Colby next week?
Oh, I don't think so. I think he's going to win.
Really?
Keith or Elizabeth.
We'll see.